evening, and thanks for joining us here on Q2 for the 5:30 news. I'm Zoe Zandora. Today, Senator John McCain was laid to rest. McCain was buried after a private ceremony at the U.S. Naval Academy in Maryland. CBS's DeMarco Morgan reports from New York.
The week-long farewell to Senator John McCain has come to an end. On Sunday, the Arizona Republican was laid to rest in a plot at his alma mater, the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. His burial follows a week of national mourning for the former presidential candidate. The service was a private affair, attended only by McCain's family and a handful of close friends. Among them, former Connecticut Senator Joe Lieberman.
I always feel that when you bury somebody, their body is there, but their soul is gone to the next world. And I feel that way about John, but I'm also left with incredible memories. I'll shed a tear, and yet I'll thank God that I knew a man like John McCain.
Colleagues say the outpouring of grief for McCain underscored his status as a national leader.
This was a civics lesson for anybody who wanted to listen. Why do we remember this man? Because of the way he conducted his public life.
Ohio's Republican Governor John Kasich said President Trump could learn something from McCain's record of service.
John McCain, no matter what position he took, always figured out a way to build a bridge. And now we have a leader who is either unable or unwilling to unite the country.
As a final honor, a Navy flight squadron conducted a flyover of Senator McCain's gravesite, with one of the planes breaking off from the others, the traditional missing man formation. DeMarco Morgan, CBS News, New York.
Among the mourners present was his 106-year-old mother, Roberta. On Friday, Tester took questions during a press briefing in Billings, including one about a meeting between he and Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh.
August 20th, the White House pulled that meeting down. They had members off the Judiciary Committee that they said they had to meet with first, which is fine. We will meet with Judge Kavanaugh. I've got a list of questions we're going to talk to him about. Hopefully it'll be before the hearing, but if it's after the hearing, so be it. And then we'll watch the confirmation hearing when we get back after Labor Day, see the questions asked there, see how he answers them, and then at some point in time shortly thereafter we'll make a decision on whether we're going to support or not.
And John Tester no longer blaming the White House for canceling. According to Lee Enterprises Saturday, a White House official involved with Kavanaugh's scheduling said there was no cancellation, and after Tester's staff reviewed its records, they confirmed the White House account. In fire watch, an upgrade on the Howe Ridge fire. The blaze has held steady over the past few days and has burned a little over 12,400 acres and is 12% contained. There are over 340 people assigned to battle the lightning-sparked blaze. New numbers show that it cost an estimated $7.83 million to battle the Howe Creek fire, which has burned structures and forced evacuations in Glacier National Park. Some spot fires have occurred in the last few days, but crews continue to manage growth. An important reminder for hikers and campers: the majority of Glacier National Park is open. The Howe Ridge fire is burning in less than 1% of Glacier's 1 million acres. In Reed Point today, thousands came together to celebrate a 30-year tradition. The sheep just finished the run through downtown Reed Point. Organizers tout the Great Montana Sheep Drive with the running of the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. Some say the running of the sheep was inspired by the Great Montana Cattle Drive in 1989. The Reed Point Sheep Drive event started this morning with food, music, and competitions. The festivities continue into the evening. That's pretty cute. Montana sheep growers hope a new event will get people interested in trying local lamb. Organizers held the first Montana Lamb Jam in Helena last week. It was a cooking competition where 3 chefs prepared dishes with Montana-raised lamb. Nearly 200 people got a chance to sample the food. Organizers hope that by bringing lamb to a bigger audience, it will mean more people giving it a try.
Our hope is to get lamb back in the restaurants, back in the grocery stores, and onto the dinner table.
You can find out more about what sets lamb apart in our Montana Ag Network report tonight at 10. Grizzly bears are expanding in Montana, and with that, the chance of more orphaned cubs. But in this week's outdoor report, Winston Greeley tells us how Fish, Wildlife and Parks is limited in rehabilitating grizzly cubs.
Recently, Fish, Wildlife and Parks found 3 orphan grizzly cubs a new home in the Quebec Zoo. But this outcome is increasingly harder to accomplish today.
The challenge in taking in orphan grizzly bear cubs, since we don't rehabilitate them and release them back into the wild, is that we have to find a placement for them. And there's just not a lot of options.
One reason FWP does not rehabilitate and release grizzly cubs back into the wild is their high intelligence.
We don't have the facility to keep them long term. We just don't have enough to stimulate them intellectually, physically, all those ways that they need.
With increasing grizzly populations and more human interactions, orphan cubs will likely become a more common occurrence.
The issues that we have with placing cubs, with holding them, for very long, those are issues that are going to continue to be ones that we need to pay a lot of attention to.
One lesson Montanans can take from these orphan grizzly cubs is learning how to live with wildlife.
Bears are here, both black bear and grizzly bear, and it's up to us to learn how to manage so that we can live in harmony with them. It can be done, but the responsibility for it is going to lie with us, not with the bear.
I'm Winston Greeley, out among Montana's fish, wildlife, and parks.
Winston also says that zoos are more interested in taking in polar bears more than grizzly bears. Well, still to come here on Q2 for the 5:30 news, a group of people battling a common enemy all through the sound of song. And later in sports, we go back to Missoula to see how the Grizz held on in a thrilling 2018 opening win. But first, let's check in with meteorologist Connor Pregitzer over in the Weather Center.
Well, I think I must be one of the favorite people in town here this weekend with the weather we've been seeing for our long weekend, and we've got more coming your way on Monday. We'll talk about it coming up in the weather.
You're watching MTN News with Zoe Zandora, Storm Tracker Weather with Connor Pregitzer, and Sports with Casey Conlon. This is the 5:30 news on Q2, Montana's news leader.